Hello, my Aries friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today to talk about your September horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So if you are looking up your chart, I believe you should look at your moon first. It has become my absolute 100% belief that we create our lives based on our emotion. So our moon represents our emotional body. Our rising sign is the second, or on a par with the moon, because it represents our perception, our viewpoint, how we initially look out at the world. And then the sun. The sun is how we project ourselves out into the world and how others perceive us. We also have what's called stelliums. And if you have 3 or more personal planets in one house or sign, this is a very powerful and influential point of attraction within your soul's natal chart. So this is how I think is the best way to approach looking at these videos. Again, the emotional body, there are very few people, although there are people who can push their emotional body aside and manifest through sheer grit and effort, but that is a limited energy. So what we're really looking about is aligning our emotional body with our wants and desires, and then engaging source energy and the laws of the universe to help bring those dynamics into our personal experience. So the first thing I want to talk about, and the thing that I think is going to be the most influential for Aries over the next few months, is Mars going retrograde in Gemini. Mars will be entering Gemini, and when it hits 8 degrees, it's going to start its shadow period. The shadow period is where a planet starts to slow down its motion. And as it slows down its motion, it becomes more anchored and influential as it's about to change directions. So with Mars in Gemini, we're looking at Gemini representing our everyday lives, the things we talk about, the things we read, the things that we teach others about ourselves, our everyday workmates and teammates, school-age children, our cousins, our siblings, our neighborhoods. It rules escalators and sidewalks and roadways and short-term travel. Mars being in the sign of Gemini is double action, a lot of movement going on here. Mercury zips around the zodiac, never far from the sun, and Mars is also a very quick moving energy. Mars is assertive, aggressive, blunt, adventurous, brave. It also likes to go alone, whereas Gemini works in a team. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to look at, for Aries, having this happening in your 3rd house until January is the retrograde. I believe January 12th is the day that Mars will then turn direct, but it will still be in shadow period until March. So there will be this lingering influence about being able to review how I assert myself in my community, within my teammates and my workmates. This is an opportunity to give yourself sort of a renovation in how you view yourself. Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo, but within the Geminian energy, Mercury is a persuasive speaker, an orator, somebody who inspires others into their idea. And Mars is a natural born leader. So I think that you're going to have experiences that will reflect how you are landing on others. And when you are willing to shift your verbiage to something that is in a way more palatable for others to hear. You may know something within a conversation, but your willingness to hear somebody out can change the dynamic of how that conversation plays out. So Mars, in an unconscious way, will cut the other person off. And they'll be like, I know what you're going to say, so let's get on to the next thing. But here is where I think Mars has an opportunity to evolve and to adopt more hero-like energy, where I'm putting my personal wants and needs aside so that you can feel seen and heard. and thereby creating a stronger foundation for moving forward within the relationship. So I would look at, as an Aries, moon, rising, sun, or stelliums, where this is going to be, where is 8 degrees of Gemini, and how much energy do you actually have within that house? If you don't have any planets in Gemini, then you might want to look and see where the ruler of Gemini is in your chart and see if it's going to be making any aspects during this retrograde period. I really believe that while this could feel a little bit fiery initially, because when you add air to fire, it stokes the flame, but I also think it's a great opportunity to reflect on, do I want to be actually influential, or do I just want to vent? That's the way I want to put it. So that starts on September 3rd. 2 days later, on September 5th, Venus will enter Virgo. This is a place where Venus becomes quite practical. Venus becomes a little more focused on self-care when it comes to my mental health, my work. How am I treating my financial body? Am I making my myself a priority within my own financial dynamic? I kind of think to myself, am I saving money? Am I putting money away? I'm also thinking that this is an opportunity for Aries to really take note of how anger and frustration affects your physical body, and to implement Venusian dynamics in order to neutralize any stresses or obligations that you may feel. Venus is not the sexiest in Virgo. She's going to be very practical in how she shows her love and her adoration. So she might be more into acts of service here. And having this be in your 6th house, I feel like this is an opportunity for Aries to I see a bit of a theme going on here. So this is what I want to say, because I've got Mars in Gemini that's ruled by Mercury. Now I have Venus, the planet of self-worth, in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. And then I'm going to have a Mercury retrograde, which by the end of the month will take Mercury back into Virgo. And I'm going to hit a little bit on the Mercury retrograde, but I'm going to do a separate video on that, because I think that this is a real period of time from September all the way through even into October for Aries to really review, and not in a critical way, not in a way that is expecting perfection, but in a way that is taking past experiences, and rather than building resentment about them or building anger and frustration because you haven't been able to implement the movement you want, this is an opportunity for you to become more palatable, more lyrical, more harmonious in your communications, both with others and with your own self-talk. When Venus enters Virgo in your 6th house, this is an opportunity for you to kind of slow down a little bit, I want to say, and put yourself into the mix of, if I take care of me, am I not taking care of others? Am I not fostering more opportunity for others to feel appreciative and blessed by my service versus feeling obligated to my service? There's a little bit of a push-pull here with Venus in Virgo, because there's a wanting to feel like I'm doing things because I choose to, and then sometimes there's a little hangover of feeling like I'm choosing it, but I still feel like I have to do it. On the 9th, Mercury will start its retrograde at 8 degrees Libra. So this is another thing that I think is interesting, because Mars is starting its shadow period at 8 degrees of Gemini, social sign. Mercury starting its retrograde on the 9th at 8 degrees Libra. The 8th degree is the Scorpio degree, offering transformation, offering the rising of the phoenix. Here, we're going to see Mercury going retrograde in Aries' 7th house of contractual partnerships. This is not just marriage partnerships. This is professional partnerships. These are even partnerships with people in the civil work, lawyers, legal lawsuits, policemen, city workers, things like that. So if you have anything going on, like if you're renovating your house and you need to go to the city to have plans approved, this would be a really good time to set an intention as you move forward. Because again, here's Aries trying to use their words to inspire versus to be a little bit too pushy. Because as we see Mercury go from your 7th house of partnerships, it's going to retrograde back into your 6th house of service and work. And as we get towards the end of the Mercury retrograde, we're going to see an aspect between Neptune and Pluto, which I'm going to get to in a minute, because I kind of want to go chronologically here. So as we go into the Mercury retrograde, this is an opportunity to revisit your partnerships, revisit your attitude about partnerships. If you're still harboring some anger or resentment, if you're willing to, kind of get into a space where you realize that there's the potential that you've done everything that you can do. And now the only way that you can resolve an issue could be because you give yourself permission to put it where it belongs. And when I say that, I mean an opportunity for it to provide contrast, for Aries to sit in a more intuitive energy. Sometimes when we want to take action so quickly, it's more of a knee-jerk reaction than it is an intuitive inspiration. And I think over the next few months, starting in September, Aries has an opportunity to start to hone their intuitive skills, the kind of skills that a good warrior uses in battle, because you don't have time to think. And yet at the same time, you don't have the privilege of operating on fear. So on the 10th, we're going to go into a full moon in Pisces. I'll be doing a separate video on that. On the 22nd, the sun will move into Libra season. And we'll be starting the feeling of the holidays and of the fall harvest coming. The Mercury on the 23rd will be retrograding back into Virgo on the 23rd. So we're going to start to feel that reviewing the work I have to do, my obligations, what's expected of me. We have the new moon in Libra on the 25th of September. Again, I'll be doing a separate video of that. And on the 29th, this is what I think is super important, Venus will move into Libra. And at the same time, the Mercury retrograde will be at 24 degrees Virgo, making an opposition to Neptune retrograde at 23 degrees Pisces, and making a trine to Pluto at 26, Pluto retrograde at 26 degrees Capricorn. This is where I believe that the review that you've done over this month to look at how can I create a win-win when I'm expressing myself? How can I use my words from a more vibrationally aware perception so that I use words that engage people's help versus alienating them and having them only see the more assertive and aggressive sides of myself? I think the big theme for Aries this particular September is to allow the square that Pluto has been making to Aries. And if you're a late born Aries, your rising sign is being squared, or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. If you're a late born Aries, your sun will be squared. And depending upon what you're rising, mine's a 26 degree rising sign. So I'm still experiencing the square to Pluto, and I am Mars ruled. So my point is, I believe Pluto has been asking me if I'm going to continue to show up in an assertive and aggressive way that doesn't really serve me or others, or am I willing to transform and to allow myself the evolution of holding my personal opinion and yet expressing it in a way that others can receive it. And part of that is listening in the same degree, if not a larger degree, with how much I talk. So I think it's a really powerful month for sort of a coagulation for Aries to come together to see how they co-create. And while I don't want to take any of the hero energy or the bravery off of Mars's willingness to jump into the fray, willingness to go into a very adrenaline pumping situation and perpetrate heroic behaviors. I also think this is an opportunity for Aries to see how their energy is creating an ebb and a flow with others. And as you're aware of that, you can start to connect more succinctly and intentionally to creating the win-win. And I really think this is a powerful way of using language to express thoughts, which express beliefs, which ultimately create my experience in the world. So I think September is going to be a very exciting month. Again, you've got a very long period of time where your ruling planet will be in Gemini. So your interactions with others will be on the table, front and center. So best way to address it is to take it one bite at a time, Aries. All right, I'll be back with a new moon video and a full moon video. And please feel free to join live every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we look at the week's transits and we get angelic advice for dealing with them, for traversing them. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is in the description below. I look forward to seeing you next time. And please like, subscribe, and share the videos. Bye, everybody.